Hello and welcome back, guys. Thank you for tuning into our second guest episode. Today we will be interviewing and introducing our good friend Jesus Montiel. He's a good friend of mine that I met at Cal Poly, and we went through the journey of engineering together, and we just want to share his story and his journey and how he got to where he's at today. So, yeah, let's get started.
Yeah, welcome, Jesus. And I guess we can start off with a little bit about yourself, what you studied, or just in general.
It's all you,
Thank you.
Jesus.
Thank you for having me. So yeah, like you said, my name is Jesus Montiel. At Cal Poly, I studied civil engineering, and I focused on structural engineering.
how was what was your journey like out of high school? Did you know what you wanted to study and
Yeah.
did,
Out of high school, I kind of had an idea. I knew I wanted to do something engineering. Um, I believe, if I remember correctly, I knew it was going to be civil engineering. Um, I don't know, for some reason, I just thought it was mainly bridges back then. Uh, it wasn't until later I found out it was more than just bridges. But yeah, for the most part, that's what interested me was the bridges portion of it. Um, yeah, so back then, math has always been my favorite subject. Um, and so yeah, that's how I really chose engineering.
So, did you have someone influence you at your younger age? Because it's interesting you say like in high school you had an idea of what engineering was.
Hmm.
It's not an idea that I had when I was finishing up high school and even into the early years at my junior college. Like, what was the influence to get you there or have that understanding?
Um, I didn't really well, I guess you could say my dad a little bit, since he works in the construction industry. But other than that, I didn't really have another influence when it came to engineering. Um, I have older brother and sisters, but um, they didn't really know what they were gonna do after high school. Um, and so, yeah, I don't know. I just kind of thought engineering would be cool.
how did you know, like, because I know for me, I didn't even know what engineering was up until like my second year in college. So I don't know, how did you come across engineering, I guess? Or how did you get an exposure of it?
It would probably be when I joined Mesa in high school. Um, I think it's Mesa, right? I'm not too sure. I think it is. Um, I did. I joined my senior year,
Mhm.
but I wasn't really like involved or anything. I wasn't too serious about it, but I had some friends do it, um, and actually we did a. Um, I joined the when I joined there was a competition for like uh, trying to build like a bridge out of like little sticks or whatever, and I think for the competition we went to San Luis Obispo, Cal Poly.
Oh, mhm.
Um, so yeah, that's how I kind of got a little bit of exposure to engineering.
That's good. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, it wasn't until college when, well, my first year, I didn't know what I wanted to do. It was until my second year.
Hmm.
Um, so you ended up attending community college for a few years, correct?
Yes. So after high school, I joined or I attended Allen Hancock. Um, I was there for more than a few years, longer than
Same.
longer than I would have wanted to.
Right? It's very advertised as a 2-year college.
It's
Uh-huh.
not.
It's
It's definitely
yeah,
not.
junior college, and I think it's worth it. Like, what are your thoughts on like it's okay to take more than 2 years to get to where you know to the transfer port?
Yeah,
Did
I
you?
mean, yeah, I think it's everyone goes at their own pace. I try not to compare myself to anyone, so um, I kind of was taking classes. At the beginning, I wasn't like too focused on it, I guess you could say. Like I knew what I wanted to do. Obviously, it was to transfer, um, but I wasn't 100% giving my effort to it. I was focused on like other stuff outside of school. I kind of just attended classes, um, did the homework, took the tests,
Like
and
you
that was it.
like you kind of felt like you were in an autopilot kind of.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. I kind of compared it a little bit to high school. That's how I was in high school. I wasn't never the biggest person on like studying or anything like that. Like I would just attend classes, take notes, obviously. But when I got home, I like to play video games and stuff. So.
See,
Yeah.
that's what good about college that like I mean, it gives you some grace because I mean, it's not that we're trying to promote to fail classes, but
Mhm.
like it's just you just don't feel that pressure. At least I didn't my first 2 years. I
Mhm.
don't know, of like, oh, I have to be done,
Yeah,
you know.
I didn't feel it my first 4 years. So,
No,
I mean, but
exactly. That's how I felt as well too.
is there anything like that clicked where it's like, okay, it's it's time to like change this, or it was able to get you through to when you transferred, and you had to change your methods when you went to like a Cal Poly.
uh, no, yeah, it was during Hancock. It was probably I don't know when when my mom would ask me like, "Oh, when are you gonna transfer? When are you gonna transfer?" And then I was like, "Oof, yeah, I better hurry up and finish." Also, too, with like the classes, as you guys know, physics
Hmm.
was a little bit tough, so
Yeah.
I knew that I wasn't gonna get by with just attending class, taking notes, and taking the test. I had
Yeah.
to, put in the work outside of the
Hmm.
classroom. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of workouts out of class, um, did you like have a group of people that you would study with? Because I know for me, even at community college through Cal Poly, I had to find a group of people. One of them was you, obviously,
Hmm.
to study and like work together on the homework assignments. Because alone, I mean, I could do it too, but it's just more difficult. I would think.
No, yeah, I agree. Are you talking about Hancock?
Yeah, Hancock,
Um,
Cal Poly. I mean, I know
I
Cal
didn't
Poly.
have like a specific group. I kind of just if I knew someone, I would ask them or if they wanted to study. And I believe like they had their own group or whatever. But yeah, I didn't really have a specific group at Hancock. It wasn't until to Cal Poly where we had like the same group, of studying. But at
Hmm.
Hancock, I would just ask people basically.
Wow. Yeah, for me, I know like I needed to be with a group of people like to, feel all the smartness around me,
Hmm.
just to perform well. And I mean, I think I work better with groups too. But if you could go back to those years, would you have changed your study method?
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. I think about that too. I don't like to like you know do the what if or whatever or like
Yeah.
regret,
Uh-huh.
but sometimes I do think about it, and I wish I could go back and what I know now, like implement it back then, and I feel like everything would have been different. I feel like I could have finished Hancock for sure at, like by I don't know the second or third year. Um, but it is what it is.
So to people that are barely going into like a junior college, what would some of those tips be?
um, I actually I like to give like any help to like people barely graduating out of high school. I've met a few people, and I tell them one is to obviously study, always give 100%, um, try to do your best, um, join clubs as well. Um, that's something that I didn't do right off the bat, but I would definitely say those two things is study and join groups.
Yeah, same for me. For me, like I know I definitely did when in community college. I feel like I was pretty involved. You know, maybe because like I didn't feel pressured, and like because our classes were 17 weeks long, so like I
Yeah,
had time to like, oh, it's okay, I can catch up later, you know.
yeah,
But then when I got to Cal Poly, like things changed. I was just
yeah,
either studying or in class or working, and like I know, like Jesus said that, like I also don't like thinking about the what ifs, but man, I if I could go back, I would have probably try to include more extracurricular curricular activities. That will help me like just be able to experience more things in college and network. Definitely that.
One extracurricular activity I remember was soccer.
yeah. That was fun.
Were
The-
you there when Alejandro messed up his what did he do?
Towards
Sorry.
ACL.
Yeah, yeah, I was there.
Oh, you
Yeah.
were
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jesus was probably like he was one of our better players.
Yeah, just because
Yeah,
I played before.
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that. Like, I remember you being pretty good.
Uh,
Like, we had probably two good players, and you were one of them.
Oh
yeah.
my
The other
god.
one
So
was Carlos. Do you guys remember Carlos? He was a beast.
yeah, he was. Yeah,
Oh,
he was
okay,
really good
okay.
too.
Yeah,
Carlos
yeah.
Paredes.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he was
Ca-
good.
Oh, wow.
carrying the team.
Yeah, yeah. He actually played for the Hancock team, so
Yeah. Did you
he was
Oh.
play
really good.
like? Did you play for like the city league or high school, or was it just like family messing around? And
No, yeah. When I was small, I played it competitively. I would be in a travel team.
Oh,
Um,
nice. I
when I
didn't
was
know
in
that.
when I was in Oceanside, that was where I was born. So when I was over there, I played. But once I got to Santa Maria, I kind of stopped playing. I did play a few years in high school, but that was it after that.
do you feel like that helped you? Like sports in general, kind of help like you as a person in general.
Outside of school, like, did it help you release some stress and
Oh yeah, for sure. Not only soccer, but I also did cross country and track. Yeah, that definitely was a stress reliever for sure. Until this day, it makes me feel good whenever I do a run or whenever I play sports. And that actually helped me too at Hancock, when I was taking some classes. When I talked about like I wasn't focused like fully on school, I would do other stuff. One of the other things that I did was I would run half marathons, um, and that was pretty challenging, going through like the training and whatnot. Um, in one year, I believe it was 7 half marathons, which was pretty crazy.
Whoa. Wait.
yeah. I thought
So
I was a runner.
wait. So half a marathon isn't that's like what 13 miles?
13.1 miles.
13.1 miles. Dang.
Yeah.
You do them locally or you were?
No, well, some of them were locally. I did one in SLO and one in Santa Barbara, and then
What?
no, actually two in SLO and one in Santa Barbara.
Wait, didn't you do one in San Francisco too?
Yeah, yeah, that was
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
Yeah.
told me. Yeah.
that one was cool. I ran across the Golden Gate Bridge. It was
Wow,
pretty
that's
cool.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any cool funny stories? I've
Uh,
heard there's some crazy ones when like people running these different types of marathons and stuff.
any funny stories? I guess I don't know if it's funny, but I kind of messed up going on the course. So At that point, I was like, so they start in like two groups, and I think I was in the second group. The first group was, like the fast runners, so they were well ahead. And for a point in the race, I was leading the second group, um, and I got to a point where I didn't know where to go. And so I went the wrong way, and I was like going up a little hill, and I was like, nah, this can't be the route.
Mhm.
It's a little difficult, because it was, I mean, you guys have been to San Francisco, so like the hills
Yeah.
are pretty tough.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just kept going, and luckily it was like a loop. It was like a hill, and it looped around, and I came
Mhm.
back to the course. And when I came back, I saw like the um more runners going, and so I was like, dang, I probably messed that one up. It
Yeah.
probably slowed me down like at least 2 minutes.
Holy.
the, the question is, did anyone follow you?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
Which is
Damn,
good
that would
for
have been
them, but
funny.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that
Oh my
was that
god.
was pretty funny.
And
So, any plans to try and get back into it, or if you already are?
Trying to get back into running for sure. I don't know about half marathons, because man, the training is pretty tough, especially doing it by yourself too. Um, I can't remember exactly the amount of miles I would do in a week, but it had to be up there in like in the 50s, probably 50 miles a week, probably.
That's crazy.
wow. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so if you're trying to train for like a half marathon, you got to run 13.1.
Hmm.
Is it like my thought process? Does that mean you have to run 15 so that when you're in the actual competition, 13 is like easy,
Easy.
quote unquote easy? Or like
Yeah.
how do you go about the training?
I would build up to it, so I would start with low mileage, probably like, I don't know, I can't remember, maybe around 4, and then build all the way up to. I would do 13. I wouldn't go past 13.
You're like,
Uh,
okay, I'm done.
Maybe I should have, but I don't know. I kind of just would Google like any workouts, and I don't know. I saw that, and I kind of went with it, and that was my training. I would build up to it, and then a week prior, I would do the last hard run, which was like my longest run. I think I would do it on Sundays, um, and I think I would do 13 miles. It was either 12 or 13, um, and it worked out for me. I didn't feel underprepared in the race. I felt like I performed pretty well.
Wow. So, how now that you have a full-time job that are you're an
Hmm.
engineer, how would you schedule that time around your full-time job? Or like, are you trying to make time for it?
Yeah, so um, I would try to work out like as soon as I get home. Um, as you know, Esther, I have to drive quite a bit, so it
Mm-hmm.
makes it a little challenging. But
Yeah.
that's why when I get home, I try to run right away, because if I were to eat, then I would have to push it a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
just so I could let the food digest.
Yeah, you mentioned quickly mentioned that you have a commute. How long is your commute exactly?
It's about an hour and 10 to 20 minutes. An hour and 10 to 20 minutes.
So, was there any like hesitation about doing such a long commute, or is it something that you already feel pretty well like used of it, so it's not too bad? And
Uh, yeah, there was a little bit hesitation, but luckily they were able to let me do 2 days out of the week remotely. Uh, so I worked 2 days from home. Um, but I did 2 years of commuting to Cal Poly, although it's not an hour, but I mean sometimes it would take 40 minutes, and I feel like that made it a little bit easier.
Yeah. So, oh man, I had a question I was gonna ask. Gosh, I'm a good listener, but not a good. I'm not good at asking questions. Um, gosh.
I'm the same way. Don't worry.
so, so you've been. So I know where you work, but where do
Mhm.
you?
Yeah, for the people that don't
Yeah,
know,
where do you work?
where do you
Oh,
work,
hey.
and just like some quick, what do you do, and um, yeah.
Yeah, so I work for the city of Carpinteria. I'm an engineering technician there. Um, I mainly work on like any engineering permits that the city gets, and yeah, and just be a helper to our public works director there. Um, Whatever he needs, like that he can't get to, I try to do that and try to help him. That's pretty
So,
much it. That's pretty much it.
what about your job? Wh- I guess what interests you about your job?
Or surprised you about your job?
Hmm.
Like, what was something that you didn't expect? You know, is this your um, first job out of college? And what was surprising about, or what surprised you? What you enjoy about it?
Uh, yeah, this is my first job out of college, and as far as what surprised me, uh, I think like the government aspect of it. I wasn't too like I didn't know too much about like a city job or a county job, um, but I guess yeah, that's what surprised me is like the whole government side to it. I wasn't really aware of it.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. So, I know like in school we learn a lot of technical work, um, especially as engineers. There's a lot of math and science going on. What you don't really get a lot of is like the amount of paperwork, the amount of politics, and that go into these jobs,
Hmm.
especially when you're working like civil engineering, and these are big projects for like the public, and and there's actually like a lot of stuff happening behind the scene. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, that surprised me too, when I got into my job, and like it's such a different aspect when we're so used to like here's this problem, solve it,
Yeah,
versus
exactly.
versus well, we can't get to the problem yet because we don't have the money for it, or like or like we're waiting, we know what to do, but we can't move forward because we're waiting for and a third party to make some decision.
Yeah, and
Yes.
not only that, like once you're like in the construction process of it, and at least for me, um, there's if it's not like something like an issue with the actual project itself, it's like the residents nearby that are just watching every move that the construction workers do, and like
Yeah,
I'm not trying to complain, but like
yeah.
they complain about everything.
Oh
And it's
yeah.
I mean it's kind of hard to like please everyone, but I
Mhm.
feel like that's always going to be something that us the engineers have to like deal with and try to work around it to try to please everyone.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, I
I
feel
mean,
that.
you would know too, right, Jesus? Because you do
Yeah,
work a lot closely with the residents in that area.
yeah, and you mentioned they complain about everything. Oof, Carpinteria, man. They complain about everything.
Yeah, I can second that. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, like
So,
Ricardo said, yeah, it was like all that. Like you have to wait, you have to run it through, um, like council and like, I'm still learning all that. But from what I know, yeah, it's a process. It's a process to do basically anything.
mm-hmm. And that's crazy. I like when I was in school, I didn't, like I would see construction, but like, or like any project going on, and I wouldn't think about like the work it took to just to get there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's pretty amazing. I don't know. Do you have something else?
Oh, and
So Jesus,
Hmm.
oh Jesus, I call him Jesus. What are your plans as a structural engineer? Are you trying to pursue? I know you have your EIT already.
Hmm.
What are your goals in terms of like? obtaining your license and moving,
Yeah,
moving up.
and if you can explain that process too, I know there's probably some people that don't know what like EIT is, and that there's a process after you graduate.
Yes, I didn't know that. If I would have known this sooner, I don't think I would have done engineering.
So like, yeah, can you just explain your thought process and all like what it would actually take to get to the official like licensed engineer?
Yeah, so like Esther said, I didn't know about the process either. um,
We just thought it was engineering.
yeah, so for the EIT, I believe now you could take it during your junior year of school and your
Hmm.
senior year. Um, I took it during my senior year. I believe it was a few quarters before graduating. So yeah,
But he didn't
basically it's
study. He didn't study, and he passed.
I did study a little bit.
A week.
So so basically for the EIT, it's an 8 hour test, and there is 110 questions, um, and it is split into two tests. The first test is like a general, so you get tested on like calculus. I forget the other topics, but then you go on to the second test, and that's where they test you on like the civil engineering branches, like your structural, water, transpo, and all that, and all those. And then after you pass the EIT, you could go on and take the PE. And for the PE, you would need um, 2 years of work experience, pass the PE test, and then you would also have to take two other tests, which is the um,
Seismic and
seismic and
survey.
surveying. Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's where my next goal is to try to work on passing my PE. I haven't decided on where or when to take it, but I know I recently switched to from in person, which was only offered 2 times a year, to um, online, where you go to a test center, and that is, I believe, offered year round. I think
Oh no, way for the PE
for
portion?
the PE, yeah.
Oh wow. So you can
Which
take it any at any like testing center?
Yeah, so you could take it here in Santa Maria, which is pretty nice. I know
Wow.
the closest one to us would either be LA or up north. That was when it was in person, but now uh, where you could go to a testing center, you could take
Hmm.
it here in Santa
Wow. I didn't know that. Well, thanks.
Maria.
Once I get there, I'll
Yeah.
I'll definitely look into that.
Yeah, there's like so much information that that's not given to us,
Hmm.
and I think
Uh-huh.
that's part of what we want to do here is just to get this knowledge out and to let people know all this information sooner
Hmm.
rather than yay I've graduated, wait, what do you mean I got to take two more tests?
Yeah.
and so yeah, so just getting this out is really going to help, you know, people get the knowledge that there's additional things you have to do to become these licensed engineer. But once you are a
Yeah.
licensed engineer,
You make
the
bank.
and the and the doors are open, there's like so many opportunities. And yeah, I know, so that's for like civil engineering. There's also
Uh-huh.
ones for mechanical engineering. So anyone out there
Exactly.
that's, you know, in different disciplines, they can look into these different licenses and,
Yeah,
you know,
but for Jesus, since he's like he focused in structural, there's another exam.
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
called a structural engineer, right? License?
Yeah.
The
Yeah. Yeah.
SCE? No.
SE. Yeah.
SE.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
like that's above the PE. So if you have that, you're good.
Yeah.
Like if you want to work on buildings of like 2-story or more, right? Or three,
Yeah, and
whatever.
it's
Yeah.
like I believe it's like schools, hospitals,
Wow,
um,
that's pretty insane.
and buildings like that. Yeah, that's
What's your dream building you would want to work on?
a dream. Ooh, that's pretty tough. But I mean, I see like buildings like SoFi Stadium,
Mm.
and I see those type of buildings. I'm like, wow,
They look pretty
that'd be a
complex,
dream.
right?
Yeah, that'd be a dream to work on those.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever get there, but
Yes,
yeah,
you
it'd be
will.
Yeah,
it'd
there's
be.
actually
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
sorry. I was gonna say there's actually a surprising amount of stadiums that get built.
Mhm,
I know that for the sports fans out there, the Washington football team just
mhm,
got sold, so they're probably gonna be looking to build a new stadium. I know that the World Cup is coming to the United States,
uh-huh,
so stadiums will have to be made sure that they're fit for this. And there's actually quite a bit of stadium working out there. And yeah, those are
yeah,
always some of the like nicest design structures that are out there. They're just
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. No, yeah. There's quite a bit other ones too in the NFL that are gonna be built. Just quickly, I know the Bills and the Titans are gonna get new ones. But yeah, that would be a dream. Um, but for like work that I would like to do is I like the modern style buildings. Um, like I know schools nowadays they look they look like colleges, like even
Hmm.
if they're elementaries. So buildings like that would be
Yeah, like
that
the
would
one by
be
Costco.
yeah, exactly, yeah. That funny you say that one I had in mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, buildings like that would be a dream to work on.
Mm. So, so your ideal job would be working in a big city, or well, I think,
Yeah.
yeah,
Are
obviously,
you
right?
open to like leaving the local area, going to a big city? What about going to like another state? That's always like a pretty good table topic of
Hmm.
especially in like Hispanic, it's very family oriented, so we tend to stay
Hmm.
closer.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel about like moving out to a bigger city, another state?
As far as another state, I don't know. Probably not. I'd like to stay here in California. But as far as another city, yeah, I would be open to. I mean, I grew up in for a little bit. I grew up in Oceanside, which is close to San Diego, and it's much different than here in Santa Maria on the Central Coast. It's traffic is crazy. Um, but yeah, I would definitely be open to um, working in a bigger city. I prefer like LA area or San Diego area. I like Southern California.
Yeah, I'm a little what do you call it? I would probably question that. Like for me on my end, I don't know if I
Uh-huh.
can leave, man, but I should.
No, I feel that too. Like I don't want to leave. Like
I know
that's
this is home.
yeah, that's a reason why I struggle to find jobs because I mean there is structural engineering jobs, but
Mm-hmm.
there's not quite as bit as as you were to go
Mm-hmm.
to a bigger city like in LA or San Francisco or San Diego.
Yeah.
But that yeah, that's one of my main goals is to hopefully stay here. Like I don't want to leave.
But sometimes, we have to like take on those changes so it can open more doors later on. I try to think of
Exactly.
it like that too, like it's not going to be forever. It is just a way of opening more doors and more opportunities, for me at least.
No,
Um,
yeah, I agree.
yeah. Um, so I don't know if you have or if you would like to say any encouraging words to anybody out there listening, um, to like even those that are still not sure of what they want to pursue, or even kids that are still in high school and want to pursue engineering. What are your encouraging words to them?
Let's see. That's a good question. Um, I guess what I could say is what I always say to people, whether it's engineering or whatever, is just to do your best. Um, do your best and give it. 100%. Like I mentioned before, I didn't really try too hard in classes early on, but that's one thing I say is like right from the start, try to try to have good studying habits, um, and yeah, and just follow your dreams. Um, if you put in the work, you will accomplish
Mm-hmm. I can second that.
And third.
And there. Yeah. Well, thank you, Jesus, for taking the time out of your weekend to, chat with us and share your amazing story of, like being first generation and being the
them.
first one in your family to graduate with an engineering degree from Cal Poly SLO.
Yeah.
Yay. We really appreciate you and yeah, thank you. I don't know, Ricardo.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was very insightful. I didn't know you were a runner, so wish you luck if you continue that.
Thanks. No, thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you. And well, there you have it, guys. We hope that you got to know a little bit more about our friend Jesus and were inspired by his story and encouraged to pursue your dreams. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. And we will see you next time.